Hey guys, welcome back to more Legend of the Willow, and we're playing episode 10 right now. We might do episode 11 as well, I'm not sure. We'll have to see how we go. But for now, it says, May learns a dangerous dance. Okay, so last time there was a big battle because the village was attacked because Zumi decided that she was very, very upset. So she, for reasons, I still can't quite make sense of that, but she said she was very upset and that she was going to betray her village because of me. And something to do with Kazu and then somebody, Takao, taking my contract. I don't know. She got problems. So we're going to see what they do with her because she survived because I decided to be nice as usual. I'm glad I did though because they said that if you didn't, Changan was going to die, which is not okay. Not okay in the slightest. Let me turn this music down in my ear. So, very glad I decided to go against my urges, which is to have her maimed or something. I don't know. But anyway, chapter 10, Her Own Path. Also got Alice in here, so see how that goes. And I'm going to try to tone down the cursing just for practice. She can't understand me yet, but she will be. So, better start good practices. Okay, Her Own Path. Thunderous mountain. Through the dense bamboo thicket, the wind cuts a path. All right. Oh, let me do something else. All right, sorry. May stared at the embers. An orange circle of light trembled around them. After the wondrous tiger had turned into a bird and flown away, Chungun sent her back to the village. Yeah, it's a college shapeshifter, which is really, really cool. She tried to object, but the old man assured her that everything was coming to an end and remained adamant. Okay, I think we did a good job though last time. A large coal split into two, its bright, flaring edges quickly consumed by ash. May shivered and added more firewood. The flames emanated warmth. Once she was back at the healer's house, she started pacing the room. As soon as thoughts of death came to mind, she would rub her face with her hands and keep repeating, No, that's enough, not this time. Please. However, she couldn't completely get rid of those thoughts. Plaguing herself with guesses about who and how much they might have suffered, magic surged through her in spontaneous burst. Deathly green flashes flickered around her hands. Eventually, she began to fear that she might completely lose control. By the time Kimmy looked in on her, May was sitting huddled in a corner, her fingers pale from tension and intertwined before her. Oh, poor thing. The woman brought food. The kitsune jumped up, peering into the face of Satoshi's mother and trying to figure out what news she would bring. From Kimmy's story, she learned that Changun, who had miraculously managed to help even the seriously wounded, was now busy with the rest. Only one ninja from the clan had died. Everyone who May knew was alive. Oh, good. I mean, it's not good that one person died, but at least I feel like there would have been more had I not made certain choices. I don't know what the choices are, though. The fight was over. The remaining enemy forces had retreated. However, they were unaware of the recently restored bridge over the gorge. Kazu and Hung intercepted them using this shortcut. None of the outsiders managed to escape. Okay. An impossibly long day was nearing its end. Once it grew dark, May went out onto the porch to get some fresh air, hopeful that she might hear some more news. I always love the little lights in the village. So nice. The shinobi turned to approach silently. The sorcerer either didn't know how to do this or simply didn't consider it necessary. Are you okay? Takao. She bowed. Even the deepening twilight couldn't hide the unnatural, painful pallor of the Junin skin. And we probably use a lot of magic. Magic takes its toll, especially on people. She's not even considering herself a person, really. Well, not like that, like a human. I'm fine. The head of the clan was in no hurry to explain the reason for his visit, and May considered it appropriate to say, I'm truly sorry. That man, I never knew his name. My condolences. Thank you. There was a short but heavy silence. The head of the clan glanced around the village as if looking for a point known to him alone, or maybe a house that had now lost one of its residents. Then he turned his gaze back to May. Thank you. I came to say thank you for your help. But I didn't help at all. It was through your efforts that Azumi found the courage to warn us about the attack. Goodness. By the way, how did you know, or perhaps realize, what she had done? I kind of went looking for her, right? The Jonin's eyes were kind, and even so, May felt that it was impossible to withhold or conceal anything from him. Shino-odori, a yokai, found me and took me to Azumi when she was about to commit suicide. I see. The sorcerer fell silent again. I am gonna... how many of these can I ask? So I only get one question? I'm sorry, but I gotta ask about Kazu first. I'm sorry. Look, I heard that he was okay, but, like, let's make sure. He has a few scratches. He's burying bodies. Bodies? The corpses of enemies, May. Our yokai neighbors will find a use for some, but not all of them. We can't leave the rest to fester in the forest, can we? Let's ask about him. Thank you. Everything is fine. Okay. I'm supposed to Satoshi, but I'm more concerned about Masamune. He was grazed, but nothing too serious. Chomgun bandaged him up. He said he didn't have to do much else. You will probably see each other soon, even if you didn't plan on training. Araya has more than amply demonstrated his loyalty to the clan. We're no longer restricting his movement around the village. Oh, good. How is Hung? He's okay, too. Just so that you don't get any wrong ideas or even fears, I'll explain. You saw me transform into a tiger and a bird. The Jonin had raised the topic himself, so May dared to ask him directly. Takao, are you human? Yes, we've talked about this. But you can take any form? How? Not just any form, very specific ones. Your fox's body is your native one, so you quickly mastered it. Any sorcerer must spend several years learning to control another form. As for how, I'm a strong enough sorcerer. Yeah, not to brag or anything. And if you recall, human magic isn't nearly as limited as yokai magic. However, it still has its rules. All people, during transformation, constantly expend energy. Not only energy. May thought of the striped predator's bleeding paws. You can't maintain such a state for an extended period. Still, it's convenient at times. For example, you've seen what a tiger is capable of in battle. Fighting using sorcery works like this. The white tiger and the white falcon are some of my main magical fighting techniques. Ooh. Falcon. To quickly cover a great distance or spot enemies from above. The canopy must get in the way, but the attackers were hardly hiding from observers in the sky. Recognizing that this was not a question, Takao didn't confirm May's reasoning. The sorcerer shook his head as if he was about to say goodbye, but May's question delayed him. Takao, what about Azumi? The laws of the shinobi were hardly merciful, and May doubted whether she would wish mercy upon the traitor. Although it was impossible to imagine execution within the clan either. The gaze of his blue eyes hardened. Death is the due for betrayal. What? But Chongun is against it. He risked his life to save her. Nihila hates doing things in vain. Satoshi came to his senses and started asking for her. Strange, because you came to her aid. May answered evasively. First of all, I wanted to stop the attackers. Will I be allowed to know the decision when you make it? It's already been made. Azumi will stay here for life. She will never leave the village again. It could be worse. May's first thought was, that's a very light punishment. I don't think so. Then she tried to imagine such a life, living every day under the judgmental and disappointed looks of your former friends. Realizing the life you lost, meeting the eyes of those whom you betrayed, whose families you didn't consider. Years with an invisible brand of shame and contempt. No, death would be better than living like this. May shook her head. Sometimes it takes as much strength to be humble as to resist, as much strength to retreat as it takes to keep going. Reining in one's pride and accepting reality is sometimes more difficult than refusing to bend to it. May did interrupt him. Azumi, a shadow of sadness haunted Jonin's voice. Azumi is persistent and cannot give up. She grew used to achieving everything. So used to it that she lost the ability to be critical of herself. She's a kunoichi and should have been able to control herself. Definitely, May. She should have been. But remember, people are not the bellows of a forge. They are not mechanisms or tools. Even very disciplined people remain human, and they all have human weaknesses. Generals who accumulated fame through battle suddenly cower in their next encounter, hiding behind the backs of their soldiers, trampling their own greatness in the mud. Debt. Parents sell their children. Children abandon their weak parents. Is this all because she was not chosen to go to the capital? Of course not, but rather it became another drop. Lately, Azumi has had a hard time holding back her emotions, so she has been assigned tasks less frequently. She admitted that she broke into your room at night. It's nothing, only I probably should have told you right away. I didn't think it could have such an impact. Nobody could have. I'm convinced that you have been considerate towards her. When the clan took your contract, Azumi developed a kind of jealousy, as strong as it was irrational. And she finally convinced herself that she was unwanted. Why? What drove her? How could she think that? It was her wounded vanity, May. Not a rare companion for those who have never known defeat. I see. I thought the reason was different. Kazu? The giant looked at her closely, appraisingly, as if considering whether to continue the conversation. May was about to say that it was none of her business, but the sorcerer spoke again. I hate such discussions, but since you are so deeply involved in all this, you have a right to know. Everyone in the village knows. Yes, May. Kazu became her greatest defeat, a goal that she could not achieve. What are you talking about? When two young people who routinely risk their lives spend enough time around each other, sometimes there develops a fascination. It started to pass. Kazu decided to cut that tie first. He rejected her. Was that a shock to her? Probably. Azumi was determined to renew the relationship. In this case, persistence turned into foolishness. Azumi, became obsessed with her desire to achieve her goal. Well, see, that's the problem, though. You can't look at a person or relationship like a goal, like something to check off your box. Yeah. I don't know. See, that's her first problem. Like, her mindset is just completely wrong. Kazu has completely distanced himself. Hope this conversation will not cause any disagreements between me and him in the future. Thank you for the information, Takao. I was naive to believe that it was a matter of feelings, to speculate about unrequited affection. But in reality, this is how it is sometimes. What do I know about life? The jury looked at the healer's house, changing the subject. I wanted to ask, aren't you afraid to be alone after the fight? Chungo will be busy all night. Of course not. Certain that Takao had enough trouble besides her, May firmly added, don't worry. With a nod, the sorcerer left. May was sitting alone by the hearth, watching the shadows dancing on the wall from the swaying Jizaikagi, and the kettle hanging upon it. Flickering in the dim light, the dark patches intertwined into blurred silhouettes. May's imagination completed these patterns automatically. She saw an unusual flower bud, then a dancing man, then a house on a hill, then a distinctive fox mask from a festival. There was a short knock on the door. The kitsune started. She looked sideways at the wall again and stood. Nothing unusual remained in the shadows. Huh. Surprised by her overactive imagination, she opened the door. Yay! I'm just glad he's okay and that not so many people were hurt during the fight, because this kind of sounds like it could have been. So, yeah. How are you, innocent one? She looked up at the ninja. He understood her expression, hugged her tightly, and whispered, "Wild one, why did you rush into battle?" The kitsune lifted her face from his chest. "I could not do otherwise. Are you angry with me?" Kazu looked at her and shook his head. "No. It was your decision. A careless one, yes, but not stupid. I tried not to expose myself. I know. You were helping Chang'an. You're ready to lend your shoulder and don't judge. Why does it give me so much faith to be strong?" See, that's exactly what I've been saying. Like, I feel like the way he handles situations, even like stuff like that, like he could have come in and like, you can't do that. You need to be protected and this and that. But it's consistent with what he's been doing this whole time. He's been trying to empower her and just make sure that she doesn't do anything ridiculous. Like, make sure she thinks things through and she understands fully the situation before she makes a decision. But those decisions are her own to make, and he's always been clear about that, and that telling her that she's strong enough to deal with them. You know what I mean? So that's why she's feeling like right now, she's feeling like around him, it gives her the ability to be strong, to feel strong. And I love that. I love that a lot. His firm, narrow hand twisted a lock of her hair in a seemingly playful motion. His pleasant voice was calm. "Think about yourself more often, beautiful one, okay?" May smiled slightly. The ninja looked at the kettle over the fire. "You're waiting in vain. He won't show up until dawn." May shrugged. "I thought, what if he comes back? There will be heated water already waiting for him. If not for tea, then for a bath." Kazu sat down and stretched out his hands toward the warmth, and said outright, "I want you to stay at my house for now." Sign me up! The yokai, the gatekeeper, the seal, the ninja, things will be tough ahead, I know. So just stay with me. Things don't work out like this. It's not right to see each other so briefly. I see that you don't like it either, but you can't bring it up yourself. Too shy. If you don't want to. May lowered her eyelashes and whispered, "I want to." He gently took her hands in his. Cold again. The man's warm lips brushed over her fingertips. Completely lost in the emotions of the last day, and in spite of everything, May realized something very important for herself. Truly, without any veil of intoxicating passion, she felt that someone needed her. She breathed out a seemingly poorly worded and possibly meaningless question. "Why do you need me?" Kazu slyly grinned in response. "To keep you warm, curious one." "You will be embarrassed. I'll explain things to Chang'an myself." Feeling a flush in her cheeks, May went to get her things. Yay! What a crazy day. Is this okay? How should it be okay? We were close. Where are we going? What does this invitation mean? Kazu is shrewd and dangerous. I like it. Eventually, a geisha gets regular patrons. Sometimes she visits them. Incredibly embarrassed, she went out to the shinobi. Masamune did not postpone training. May's next session took place in the morning. Dang! Give me any time to relax. The Ronin explained his participation in the conflict, telling her that the presence of children in the village clearly determined his course of action. Aw, that's adorable. That's a nice little tidbit about him. Any other behavior would have been dishonorable and impossible for him. As a show of gratitude and confidence, I am now allowed to visit all the shinobi village. That's great to hear. Arai smiled. Besides, since the weather is not always suitable for practice, we are allowed to use the training hall. From his intonation, May understood that this fact was of particular significance. It must be an important place for the warriors. Most likely, it will smell a lot. I doubt I like it there. Don't be like that, May. Approaching the door of a large building, Masamune said, "There are rules for everyone who enters such halls, proper etiquette. Even if you come alone, you must respect them. Otherwise, it is considered an insult to the place and everyone related to it." May focused, committing what Arai told her to memory. You will enter the place where the art of combat is learned. You will enter the place where they are seeking their path to perfection. You will step into the world of warriors. Show your respect by bowing to the hall first, then the school or the founders of the place, in our case, the ninja of the Naito clan. Naito. Oh wait, am I giving steps? I don't know. The hall, then school. Okay. Naito? Yes. How do you know the clan's name? When Hong was showing me the hall, I asked about Satoshi's full name. He most likely understood why I needed it and told me. The kitsune gave Araya a downcast look. Masamune, please, I'd be very grateful if you could explain. I'm completely confused. What does Satoshi have to do with it? Oh, ma'am, sorry. It didn't occur to me that. He stopped himself short. But why would you need to know? Curiosity is not the best reason to ask such a question. May sighed softly. It's simple. If ninja are members of a clan, they take the name of their clan instead of their family name. So Kazu also has a Naito family name? Yes. So, May, bow to the hall, then bow to the founders or the school. Sometimes there are altars in the halls, a crest, in which case you direct the second bow to them, then a bow to the teachers. The ritual is the same when you enter and leave the hall. Yeah, I'll honor this. And I will not dare to break these rules. It doesn't matter what skills I acquire or how much time passes afterward. It is gratifying to hear such words. Oh, he liked that. Well, yeah, he would. He would. He does seem like the traditional sort, and traditional sort, and he liked things like that. Like things like that matter to him like a lot. So kind of picked that up already from his personality. So yeah, kind of being flippant about it would not have been great. The Ronin nodded thoughtfully as he opened the door to the spacious room. May expected to feel nothing or to enter a solemn place, but looking around the walls bathed in slanting rays of light through which rare motes of dust swirled, with weapons resting on racks, the kitsune found this place to be amazingly calm and cozy in its own way. May breathed in the fresh, cool air. Masamune made an inviting hand gesture. So quiet, all of a sudden. This place looks cool. May stepped up onto the tatami. Oh. She warmed up. Then there was readiness. Evading Masamune's attacks. Readiness again. Defeat. The kitsune fell, leaving herself open to a strike from the wooden sword. Masamune patiently explained what went wrong, and then, once more. Unless someone stands between an experienced fighter and me, my chance of escape without magic are slim. She pursed her lips, readied herself. Masamune gradually increased the speed of his attacks. She began to make mistakes more often and grow more frustrated. Once again dodging the whistling sword of the Ronin, she unsuccessfully staggered to the side, stumbled, and, as she fell reflexively, completely unconsciously, as the Jonin had demanded of her many times, she put out her hand, folding her fingers into a magic pass. An owl dove from the ceiling onto Arai, threatening him with the sharp talons. The metallic flourish of a drawn katana, the darkness split into misty halves. The thrown bokken hit the floor. Gray feathers descended to the tatami, whirling slowly and immediately disappearing. Oh no. Wow, empty-headed, completely crazy. It's nothing. Are you hurt? He helped her up. No, I didn't mean to do that. That's hilarious. But it's good. Like, it means her instincts for magic are really good, but we also need to focus on our physical abilities. No magic, okay? Sorry. It's okay. The bird was a surprise, but it did no harm. I'll be more careful. I feel guilty. I do feel a bit guilty. I'm sorry. Like, what if I had been, okay, let's go with passion. Like, what if I had been, doing what's the other one? The Amber Fox? I can't remember. What if I had been doing that one? Like, what if I, like, set him on fire or something like that? Oh, no. The kitsune looked away. You're a kitsune. You do magic. This was bound to happen sooner or later. It would be a lesson for both of us not to lose concentration. Masamune? Sakal warned me that some warriors are capable of reflecting magic. But how? Practice, probably. I've had it. Shall we finish for today? She evened out her breathing. I'm ready to continue. You like that? Kazu's dwelling may have seemed empty and gloomy to some. There were few things inside, no figurines, no painted porcelain plates, absolutely nothing that wasn't necessary. At the same time, his house was very comfortable, quiet, and well-maintained. May didn't allow herself to roam freely through it, considering that, at least for now, to be inappropriate. However, the absence of the slightest drafts, the silent, light sliding of the heavy doors, a small stone bath, and lo and behold, the presence of water drawn from a hot mountain spring could not fail to impress. It was impossible for May to completely stop being shy around the ninja, but the man himself kept his distance and accepted their relationship, allowing May to get used to it so that she might understand herself and recognize her own desires. She told Kazuo about her studies. He listened to her, as always, as if indifferently. As always, the Kitsune was certain he was very attentive. Changan came to visit sometimes. He made sarcastic remarks while bringing brews for May to drink. They probably taste nasty, but they're good for her. That's so nice. They're kind of like settling in to like living together. I like it. I know soon we're going to have to go to the capital and everything like that, but at least for now, it's really, really cool. Soon, life in the shinobi village resumed its usual course. They diligently avoided speaking of the attack, an effect of the ninja's habit of living hand in hand with death. Nobody wanted to talk about it. When she had time for more running, May went to find shino-odori. Oh, yay. Oh, yeah, we should probably, thank her for, kind of warning us about things. I wonder, will we talk to Izumi at some point again? I mean, I assume so, but, I mean, I'm not looking forward to it, but, There were dark streaks on the floor and walls of the cave that strongly resembled blood. Probably, someone from the clan overtook a fleeing outsider here, and was the result of the yokai's assistance. Maybe it was shino-odori. May carefully stepped over the stain left by the dried puddle. There was silence in the depths of the cave, only the creaking of the basket's ropes, a result of the draft. Nobody. Shino-odori? It's May. There were footsteps. May peered into the darkness, a silhouette separated from the wall, barely visible in the dim light of the crystals. Oh, there she is. She is absolutely stunning. Okay. Hello, Fox. Shino-odori. I'm glad to see you. I know you people have comfort to call. Are you not injured, lovely Fox? Lovely Fox. Interesting. No, I wanted to thank you. The yokai brushed it off. He already did. He came here, brought mochi and apples, but I ate them all. She sighed and added, the shinobi helped us before. She came closer. Her movements looked a little strange, although if May hadn't known who stood before her, she would never have guessed that she was not talking to a person. It's good you're here now. It is dangerous in the human world. The clan are humans too, but better, and so they hide too. The Kitsune didn't bother to explain the other, more obvious reasons for the ninja's secrecy. Actually, it's temporary. I will leave the village. Why? The question was blunt, but May knew that social etiquette was a foreign concept for Shino-odori, so she responded in a friendly way. I have things to do. The cave dweller pondered. Foxy is brave, cunning, and knows that foxies are hunted. Great danger, big problems. Probably these can only be solved out in the big world? That's right. The yokai tilted her head slightly to one side as she did in her true form. I haven't been there, and I don't advise you to go. I have no choice. There was a pause as Shino-odori seemed to want to say something, but, changing her mind, she began saying her goodbyes. Well, we'll see you again. Certainly I'll be very glad. I just wanted to talk about my feelings. Let's see. The yokai smiled directly, not masking her emotions like a child. Ooh, relationship, huh? Is she an ally choice? That would be cool. Cute Fox May. Okay. For the next few days, May continued to study hard. While her lessons with Takao brought gradual progress, with the riot things were less apparent. May's endurance for the training definitely improved, but still, not everything worked out as she hoped. Not at all. May owned her evasive moves. However, she sometimes lacked speed or understanding of how to react. When the Ronin tried to give her a bokken for better balance and protection, everything went from bad to worse. May naturally began to have fears that she was not suited for this art. She preferred to remain silent about her failures and doubts. Masamune knows better. He also might think I have given up. Next morning, doing her best not to succumb to sadness, she entered the hall. Oh, poor thing. She heard talking. A wall, a barrier. Considering defense in an attack is generally pointless. Together with the Ronin, the Jonin, Kazu and Hong were assembled. All of them looked at May. Embarrassed, she lowered her eyes. Good morning. May. Good morning. Hello, diligent one. Hong nodded. Today we will show what we were able to achieve, okay? Of course, Masamune. Her inner voice completed the thought. Making a fool of myself in public. Every girl's dream. Okay. Hopefully we've come along more than we thought, but, However, Orion moved more slowly than usual and May managed to evade every blow and never even fall. Well, that's not... The Kitsune and Ronin bowed to each other. Masamune walked over to the shinobi who were watching them from the side. May didn't dare to approach without an invitation, so she remained standing in the center of the hall. The men were quietly discussing something, but judging by their tense voices, opinions were divided. Oof. Don't tell me now that I'm great, but one voice was loud enough for her to hear. Then why? Everyone turned to her again. Kazu? Shinobi looked sideways at the Jonin, skepticism and discontent appearing on his face. I'm thinking. Kazu walked to the opposite end of the hall and opened an inconspicuous niche that served as a wardrobe. Something rattled inside as he pulled out a narrow object. Okay. He handed it to May, saying, are they trying to say what's the best weapon for me to use, maybe? I don't know. Dance for us. But they're asking this in the training hall. This kind of brings to mind like something like capoeira, where it's like a dance fighting style. And so maybe they're just trying to find the best way for her to fight. And then maybe they can incorporate dance moves. And I'm thinking like weaponized fans, like Kitana from Mortal Kombat. That's kind of what I'm thinking in my head. That would be cool. Let's see what they have us do. I'm sorry? I want to watch you dance. Any dance. Kazu? The shinobi replied through gritted teeth. What's the matter? She's a geisha. She's in front of men. Would tea be better? This is all familiar to her. Why is he so agitated? I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to make a point because he's trying to think. He's processing right now. But, like, why is he so, like, tense? I don't know. Like, towards them? Like, I don't know. Like, I wonder what the rest of the conversation was like. I don't know. The Kitsune didn't object to his request, as strange as it was in the moment. The path of passion. Recalling the sounds of the shamisen, the sleeves of her kimono swayed. One of her mentor's favorite melodies emerged from her movements. Cheerful, mischievous, like a mountain stream. Closing her eyes, May spun, stepping quickly and gracefully. Her steps changed the rhythm into a beautiful dance. The fan twirled gracefully and fluttered as if it were alive, flirting with May. A short silence followed May's performance before Kazu said, "Tell them who you are." What? The shinobi approached her, repeating, "Answer me. Who are you?" Not at all understanding what he expected of her now, the Kitsune said, "A girl?" More. He looked at her encouragingly. "A geisha. A Kitsune?" "All right, now what?" "She's not a warrior. She does what is asked of her. But she doesn't walk on her own path. This isn't her path, therefore it doesn't work." He pointed to the fan in May's hand. "That is her bokken." "Do you have anything suitable here?" "Absolutely." Hong opened a small drawer in the same wardrobe. He unfolded several bundles of leather. "Choose what's most convenient." "It's heavy." "Not as heavy as you think." Oh, water fan! Weaponized fans, I'm telling you. I'm totally getting katana vibes. This is so cool. It totally makes a lot more sense. Yeah. Okay, now I get the title of the episode. Ooh. I like that one. Oh, that one's cool too, though. Because, like, the whole thing looks dangerous. Look at that thing. Let's go with this one. That's so cool. Because this is, like, katana colors anyway. Yay. See, Kazu gets me, okay? This one. She examined the sharpened iron edges as she mused aloud. So unusual. Admiring it, she carefully gripped the fan. The fan gleamed dully in the light as she unfolded it, and it lay comfortably in her palm. She tried a little faster. The elegant weapon obediently flared open. Great. Not bad. Kazu, she needs you. Hong rubbed his brow. There's more than just preparing for one case. Right, but we promised to teach her, and we owe her something. Masamune will provide her lessons in general, and Kazu will help her own her path. You can't learn to defend without learning to kill, and you can't learn to kill without understanding death. The ninja listened to the jonin, looked at the kitsune with sharp eyes. I don't know what the outcome would be. May realized that the ninja was waiting on her. Kazu, I'll be grateful if you can help, and I'm ready to try almost anything. Almost anything. Kazu's jaw twitched. Then it is decided, only we will not try, we will do. He sounds like Yoda. Was it do or do not? There is no try or something like that. Later, when she was left alone with him, she never found the heart to ask about the reason for his doubts. That is true. I was like wondering, like, why is he so tense? And I also like wondered before, but I forgot about it, why he was the only one that we weren't training with. So I'm wondering, is it a certain thing, like, he's never let us see him fully in action. You know what I mean? Like to like an actual enemy, I think. Like, we were running from people, like, when we first met him, but I think it was more about escape than about attack. And I'm wondering, is he afraid to show her his inner darkness? Because the person who hunted down all those people who attacked his village, that person is still him, you know? So I'm wondering if he's concerned about that. So that'll be interesting. After breakfast, me and Kazuya went out onto the terrace. And we're just having like cozy couple vibes. So nice. He pointed to a thick straw mat. Sit down. No, like this. He adjusted her pose. Otherwise, your legs would fall asleep. After settling in, May prepared to listen. Shinobi silently sat down beside her. After a while, the kitsune could no longer stand it. What are we doing? I'm meditating. You're studying. Me? He nodded. I'm just waiting. No, you're talking. I can't. May, irked by his remark, decided she would not make a sound anymore. Time dragged on. The view began to annoy her. Discontent gradually gave way to boredom. Kazu took a sideways glance at May and grinned. Grumpy one, learn to wait and endure. Ninjutsu, I remember. Stay calm. Don't think about who is watching or what they might say or how they will appreciate it. Takao, Arai, me, then others. If you get irritated, you boil. You run out of steam and you make mistakes. If it's going poorly, don't panic. Don't tear your nerves out. Let go. If you can't do it, twist it a different way. This will be more successful. Basically, like what just happened in this episode with her training. Ninja looked in front of him again, noting in a different voice. Keep your back as I do. Your breathing is wrong. You're all tensed up. Why does Shinobi practice meditation? For different things. To make sense of themselves. To mentally prepare for something. Such as? A difficult fight, a good holiday, inquiry, torture. You think differently, you change your thoughts. Your own, those of others. I don't understand. You begin to speak more quickly. You act, others react. If you calm down, you don't give yourself away, they stop paying attention. Disappearing in the crowd, the room. Did Ninja learn the skill of hiding through meditation? Yes. This technique is called still water. What a poetic name. Kazu shrugged slightly. May's voice took on a weighty, thoughtful tone, as though she were recounting her cherished legend. A warrior spirit. No wind ripples its surface. A calm, tranquil lake. Not a single thought breaks the smooth surface, and then the water mirrors the sky. Yes, Geisha. Is it Geisha or Geisha? I've already forgotten again. Why do I forget? Interesting. Thank you. Why should I meditate? The same as everyone else, for different things. To relieve tension in battle. As for you personally, for transforming into a fox and back. Ah. Stop it. What? This is your 5th question. She scolded herself for being overly curious. Sorry, I didn't mean to bother you. You're twitchy, like before. Sit down, relax, do not think. At some point, the kitsune almost dozed off. However, the shinobi was not upset. He only moved less into his house. He pushed one of the doors so the street opened wide, and they continued. It was the most unusual lesson she could imagine. May was dancing the next day. Masamune was present at the training, but didn't interfere. Watching him with Kazu gave May the impression that the two very different men were getting along well. The shinobi watched, and as she continued, he asked her to combine movements from different dances. The result was something very unusual. Both Lady Kinuyo and Mentor Sumiko would have held their heads over such a performance. The ninja, however, was satisfied with the result. At some point, Kazu told her to use the war fan, and May realized what he was doing. He was adjusting the steps I know in the position of the fan for fighting. The sharp segment snapped open. I can shield myself from an attack, even a stabbing one. From many of them. She waved her hand, and the glinting weapon traveled in a semicircle. Like that, to slit the throat, to kill. Yeah, that's what it's for, honey. Don't stop. Slide. Dance. Next time I'll ask someone to play while you dance. Beautiful arcs, now dangerous grace. May effortlessly tossed her fan. It turned abruptly in the air and returned to her hand. Movements like these will make Masamune sweat. Satoshi's voice came from the hall's entrance. Wow, are you having fun in here? Waving a fan? Don't be a jerk. May bowed to the newly arrived shinobi. She's doing great, although the amount of blood those usually spill. May chose this herself? The Ronin gave the ninja a reproachful look. You could get the same from a knife. Satoshi burst out laughing. Takao told me to come get you. The Jonin is inviting you for dinner. Wait, who? Kazu or me? Or Masamune? All of us? Okay. Once May, Kazu, and Masamune were sitting at the table in the clan's chief's house, the Jonin said, dun dun dun. Hong received some interesting news. Uh-oh, is it time to move? A detachment of warriors with no crest is posted at one of the nearby roadside tea houses. It's common for mercenaries. The interesting part is that they are asking passerby questions. They're looking for a girl. The description and age fit May's. The gatekeeper's people? Seems like it. These men are quiet. However, coincidentally, 2 people disappear without a trace from a neighboring village. Masamune, what do you say? If you are hinting that there are some Oni among them, I will say that it is possible. If they were sent to hunt May, they could be a lead to their master, with a certain amount of luck, to the gates themselves. Let's go. Will the 3 of you go? Kazu and Arai looked at each other. Yes. Well, you can test my skills at the same time. Next episode is going to be nuts. I love this story so much. It says, May looks at the rain and blood under her feet. Okay. So last time we learned a new dancing fighting style. Well, it's mostly we just incorporate the dance moves were that we grew up with, um, that we were already is very natural to us, and then we just add some dangerous movement to it, and we finally started training with Kazu, and we're slightly concerned because we're wondering why he was hesitant to train us in the first place. He seemed very tense. But when our training started, he was pretty funny about it. I thought that meditation scene was pretty funny. But we'll see what's going on. Oh, now we're about to go get some information finally. Maybe about the good gatekeeper because people are looking for me. Surprise, surprise. Chapter 11, The Thaw. Halfway to Kyoto, in the middle of the sky, clouds of snow. At night, the wind that came in from the south brought a thaw with it. Freezing rain started falling from above. Pure white snowdrifts darkened slightly and shrank. Puddles appeared on the paths, reflecting the cloudy sky. Earth turned to mud. Therefore, the investigation of the mercenaries stationed in the nearby village was postponed for a day or two. There was no rush to head out, merely due to the heavy rains. For the same reason, May's lessons with Takao also had to be put on hold. Orion was preparing for the road ahead. However, May did not exactly laze about. Kazu instructed her to do some breathing exercises after a little warm-up. After making sure that she was doing everything correctly, he did not direct her further. Instead, he went to discuss some business with Hong. Alone, the kitsune lit a notch candle that was used to tell how much time had passed. Changing the rhythm and rate of her breathing, she watched the flame melt the wax. Breathe into the mouth, exhale. After finishing, she assumed the pose the shinobi had shown her and recalled his words. I must think about the air filling my chest. He said meditation would help me learn how to turn into a fox at will. The main thing is to stay calm. I must concentrate more. Didn't you tell me to think about anything? Let's try this one. I have nothing to worry about. Someday, I'll get used to it, and I'll also be able to sit still for half a day at a time. May took a deep breath and let it out slowly. I'm a fox. It's natural for me. Oh, that was coldness? Damn. Why would concentration be passion? I guess calmness and stillness is more of a coldness trait, I suppose. Okay. Let's redo that. I know we may not need all the points, but we're going to need these points eventually. And this is a finale episode, so it might be this episode. So I'm concerned. So let's go ahead and just restart this episode, just to be safe. Let's concentrate more. And want it very much, like doing magic. I want to see my tail. I am in control of my thoughts. She even leaned forward a little. Time dragged on. May looked at herself. It's probably not enough. My fur didn't show through. It's a shame it didn't work. Kazu says I don't have to worry. Takao tried to scare me to get me to transform. I hope at least one of them is right. As she stood up, she looked out of the window. The wind whipped the walls of the house with rain. She sighed. I saw the little books at Takao's. What if there's something about magic? Should I ask him for something to read, or would that be too much? No, that's an acceptable request coming from a student. She put on her hat and went out into the dank dampness outdoors. Listening to the sounds of the rain outside the window, the owner of the where are we? The owner of the Great Creek Inn, Mr. Manabu, sighed and shook his head. Once again, he wondered why this was happening to him, but as usual, there was no response. Loud, drunken laughter in the far corner of the hall took him out of his painful thoughts. The man sighed again. A suspicious squad of warriors had been living there for a week. 3 of them were being noisy at this very moment, swearing and getting drunk to pass the time. The rest were probably wandering around the village looking for entertainment and frightening the locals. Or they played dice in the common room, where other guests were usually accommodated to sleep. Usually, but not now. Damn thugs. As soon as they arrived, they drove all the travelers away from here. and haven't allowed any back since. Those who wished to stay the night had no choice but to occupy the stable, which did no favors to the inn's glorious reputation. But that was not all. To avoid being seen by the soldiers, merchants and wandering monks avoided staying in the Great Creek longer than necessary. The armed men got drunk every evening and behaved restlessly, looking to pick fights. Since they had scared away any potential victims, leaving no one else to fight, they fought with each other. Then they made up and drank some more. Besides, more and more often, the gaze of these unpleasant guests wandered over Yoshiko, Manabu's daughter who helped her father at the Great Creek. It was too late to hide her. The guests demanded that she serve them. The most frightening of them was the commander, a man with vile, beady eyes. He showed himself up only rarely, having taken up residence in Manabu's room. Really? He was quiet and solitary, leaving the village some nights. When the leader of the detachment would go out into the common room, he also looked at Yoshiko with great interest. And beyond lust, there was something so terrible and creepy in his gaze that it would chill one's innards. There was no choice. He had to tolerate this. "Hey, master, come here." Forcing an amiable smile, Manabu hurried to the table. "Yes, sir?" "Listen. Bring some more sake and fried fish. And radish. At once. One more thing." "Yes?" "Let your daughter serve us." "As you wish, sir. She awakens my appetite." The company roared with laughter. The innkeeper recognized that if these guests stayed late, there would be trouble. To object with a death wish, one that would not have saved his daughter from abuse. Picking up a coin from the floor, Manabu headed into the kitchen. That sucks. That's just awful. When the elements subsided, May checked the things she prepared for the trip and changed the clothes Satoshi set aside for her. A restless night. A bloody sunrise. Ooh. Or a rainy day. I like the bloody sunrise. The four of them left the clan village. Having recovered, Satoshi had expressed his desire to participate. Takao said to look after you. I'm just kidding. I wanted to accompany you. What if you had to talk to someone? Only a blind deaf person wouldn't see that Arai is a samurai. Who would casually chat with a samurai? And they probably won't pay attention to May unless she strikes them with her magic. And besides, who would be frank with women? May turned a deaf ear to his prodding. And you. What? The shinobi finished mercilessly. When you start talking, you scare the poor commoners. I can communicate politely. Yes, but for how long? What I'm saying is, you could use some help. I'm sorry, what are you going to talk to them about? The subject doesn't matter. What matters is how. At the very least, I can collect your things should you die. Kazu shrugged. The Ronin smiled and May observed. How delightful. Their target was not far away, so the shinobi decided to... He's not wrong. The target was not far away, so the shinobi decided to move on foot without making a detour to collect horses from their trusted contact. Arai refused to leave Kirin behind. It quickly became clear that it was useless to try persuading him otherwise. Satoshi grimaced. The mare won't pass under the mountain, so we'll have to take the long way around. Kazu thought about it, trying to figure something out. Then he suggested, looking at May. You and I could take a shortcut through the caves, and we wait for them on the other side. I mean, if you want to. I'm fine with going with you. It'd be easier for Satoshi and Masamune. They won't have to deal with the presence of a lady for a bit. Instead, May said, Okay, that makes more sense. I'm still not too used to traveling mountain paths. I don't want to cause a delay. So we'll split up. Where will you wait? At the second fork in the road. Kazu and May headed toward the cave with its hidden lift. May will see Shino. Sly one, we have some time. I'll show you a beautiful place if you're interested. I'm interested? Sly one? Why do you say that? Because I know the shape you're in, and that you would not have delayed us on the passes. She lowered her eyes, although in truth she was not ashamed of her deception. She answered evasively. Yeah, I'm interested. That's a lot of gems. Is that romancing? After descending, the ninja led her along the foothills to the west. The bamboo forest through which they once approached her home village was left behind. Soon, May saw the entrance to another cave. They dove into the darkness. Kazu stopped May by taking her hand. Wait. She heard rustling. Then sparks leaped from flint and a torch was lit, dispelling the darkness. From the entrance is 3 steps forward, 2 steps to the right. Look under the stones. That's where it's kept. Okay. We come here sometimes. Watch your feet. The tunnel was clear, but it was still easy to stumble if one didn't pay attention. The pass itself was quite narrow, with a ceiling extending high up. Glancing at the slightly hesitant Kitsune, the ninja said, "This won't take long." How long they spent walking, May couldn't tell. The monotony did not have time to grow boring. At first, it was a breath of fresh air, then it got warmer. They took a turn. Kazu squatted down and headed into a narrow crevice, beckoning May to follow him. Looking around as if for another way, she thought, "Here's hoping I won't get stuck." She followed the shinobi. May froze, her worries evaporating in an astonished sigh. Oh, wow. It's so pretty. It's so nice. Oh, and the water looks so warm. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Well, that's romantic. Through the opening, a crystal clear lake came into view. The water was bathed in sunlight and emanated steam. On the shore, defying the winter, greenery spread. The ninja, oh. Okay, yeah, makes sense. The ninja gave the Kitsune a satisfied look. Are you going to swim? May I? Yes, the water is good. Good for drinking. There's firewood here. We'll be able to dry your hair if you get it wet. Amusement glimmered in the man's eyes. Should I turn away? He has seen me naked, but to just take off my clothes like that? May again thought about a fact that had plagued her for some time. Since that night, but he wanted me to stay at his house. Why then? Was I that inept? Poor thing! Don't overthink it. The ninja waited, a slight grin on his lips. May smiled contentedly, finding a compromise for herself. Yes, please turn away. Kazu complied with her request. She looked at his back and shifted slightly to the side, standing under a beam of light. The shadow she cast fell on the wall before Kazu. Ooh, fancy. While slightly giddy from the fact that she had started this herself, May's shadow slowly began to undress. As the Kitsune untied her belt, she noticed how the man's fingers clenched and straightened tensely. Interesting. The new dark silhouette gracefully straightened her hair. Still not turning, Kazu's voice was quiet but clear. Playful one, what are you doing? I'm getting revenge. Going for a swim. Revenge. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm going for a swim. The Kitsune did her best to maintain a calm intonation. Why? The ninja shook his head. May plunged into the lake, loudly splashing the warm water. To making sure that the steam hit her enough, May realized that she would not mind if Shinobi wished to join her instead of waiting. The man undressed, standing with his back to her. The Kitsune watched him, though she suspected that he certainly felt her gaze without seeing it. She looked upon his wiry, dry-toned body. May glanced down his back. He walked without hesitation to the edge of the water. He's excited. She remembered being surprised by how hot he felt, and she felt her breath becoming deeper and her heart beating faster. Kazu and May basked in this wonder created by nature. Unexpectedly, or on the contrary, quite expectedly, since they both desired it, they found themselves closer to one another. An embrace. His kisses were as bold as ever. Her knee slid down the inside of his thigh. He pulled her closer to him, prolonging the touch of his skin on hers. May, pulling back a little, asked, "Won't we be late?" "All right, I'll get you my spare kimono. Wipe yourself off." But I'm sorry, there's always a need for a picture here. I'm sorry. There must be. He thought I wanted to stop? Oh. She was embarrassed. He didn't press on. And she's too, she's too, like, nervous and inexperienced to, like, ask to continue, because she's not that bold or usually that direct either. was hilarious. Poor thing. Eventually, she's gonna have to ask. Oh my goodness. Almost the entire time, May cursed herself for her unsuccessful flirtation. I forgot to thank him. What's the matter with me? Kaze? He raised an eyebrow. Thank you. This lake is a magical place. Thanks for showing me. You're welcome, gentle one. The fork in the road where they were to meet Satoshi and Arai turned out not to be the second they encountered, as the Kitsune expected, but the first. Strictly speaking, May and Kaze approached it right from a thicket. It started to rain, they managed to shelter themselves beneath a spreading tree. Given the time of year and the lack of foliage did not help much, the bare branches did almost nothing to hold back the large drops falling from the sky. It was growing dark. See, we could have still been in that cave. He hugged her, trying to cover her at least partially from the rain. Snuggled against the shinobi, May could smell his wet clothes, his skin. It's like everyone's dead and we're the only ones left in the world. The silence, his lips. They broke their kiss when a glimmer of bright light touched their half-closed eyes. Thunder rolled over the muddy earth. Yeah, why is this called Second Fork? That's what they call it in the surrounding villages. If you turn off the road, there's another before this. Oh. I'll light a fire. Everything is soaked. Can you do that? Lena took some brushwood and stripped away the top layer with a knife. The wood beneath was dry. Soon smoke appeared. Can't dry clothes while it's still pouring. It's fine. She stretched out her hands toward the fire. I'll get warm like this anyway. Thank you. The road did not look abandoned at all, but no one walked or rode by for the entire time. Yeah, you can see like footsteps and stuff everywhere. The silence was disrupted only by the rustle of rain. Nevertheless, Kaze left the circle of light and carefully looked around. May wanted to ask if there was someone to be wary of, robbers or horse patrols, but then she remembered that she always asked questions when she was worried. I won't bother him. If I needed to know something, he would have warned me. Finally, vague shadows appeared in the distance. Then the shroud of rain parted and May recognized Masamune and Satoshi. Sad and wet, Kieran amicably snorted when she noticed the kitsune. Oh, poor thing. You want to warm by the fire? I thought some vagabonds had hidden themselves beneath the tree, but turns out it was you. May, Kaze. You okay? We got here just fine, just soaked. Let's not waste time and get even more wet then. The village is around the bend, very close. I like that now everybody's like gotten used to each other and is starting to like trust each other to have each other's back and things like that. So like everybody's like now like vibing like a normal friend group, and I like how it didn't, because you know not all the time it doesn't always start that way, especially when you don't know each other. But I like over time they've now like gotten to a point where they're just like everybody's really comfortable joking around with each other and just kind of like, you know, making fun of each other a little bit. So yeah, that's just really cool. And I like, it feels like earned, you know what I mean? So I like that they're developing as a little group here. I wish that Hung could join us, but we don't want a group to be too big. The village is around that bend, very close. Shall we discuss how to proceed? Kaze put out the fire, quickly covering all traces of the campsite with earth and foliage. Not wanting to draw attention ahead of time, Arai and Kazu waited at the edge of the settlement, close enough to hear screams and come to help. Satoshi went to investigate the situation, taking May with him. It was good for her to acquire such experience. Now, the two of them were watching the inn from the shadows. Hong said the detachment is staying here. All the locals are fearful. 2 girls were offended. The carpenter's son had his leg broken. Because of the downpour, there's just sitting there. There's no hurry. We wait. For what? What if one of them comes out? How will we recognize him? I kind of want to ask for what? Yeah, what are we waiting to see exactly? I don't know, I'm just going to ask. A source of information. Before she could ask the next question, the ninja added, any source. A man exited the building. There's a source. But he'll probably shoo us away. So, let's see. Now noticing the shinobi and Kitsune, he started collecting firewood from beneath the canopy. Still, she quickly glanced around, making sure that there was no one else nearby. He whispered to her. Talk to him. About what? About the guest. How? Come up with something. Fine. You're supposed to be the one talking to people. That's when you came along, right? May approached the stranger. Starting, he turned to the sound of her footsteps. Mistress? Hello, sir. Do you work in this inn? The man tried to assist the lady before him, alone, wet, well-dressed, just in case he bowed respectfully. I am the owner. My name is Manabu, my lady. The Kitsune immediately got to the point. Tell me, are there any warriors still staying here? A squad looking for a girl? That was very direct from her. She's usually not very direct. Huh. Let's see how this turns out. The man suddenly muttered in fright. A squad? I don't know. Warriors? Raising her chin, May elaborated with conviction. Dangerous, unkind. This would bring more problems than profit. The ones you're afraid of. However, it's already clear. They're here. Manabu glanced sideways at the door of the Grey Creek, obviously considering ending the conversation and returning to the hall as soon as possible. Path of passion. May caught his sleeve with her fingertips. Just to turn out to be not rude, but surprisingly relaxed and powerful. I mean you no harm, mister. On the contrary, I want to help. Ooh, I have 35. Okay. Okay, so they give you allowance to make a few mistakes, and sometimes when you choose the wrong one, it's not always a big deal. I just wanted to be certain that I wasn't making the wrong choice. And plus, we were in the beginning of the episode, so it was really quick to get back to that choice. Get them out of the village. You want to get rid of them too, right? The Kitsune dared to use a tone she had always avoided. Her voice grew demanding. Trust me, they don't need to be protected. I'm going to have problems. If you do something stupid, you won't warn these villains about me, will you? Don't be afraid. If they have brought you trouble, so help yourself. You don't think the mercenaries are looking for a simple townswoman, do you? How long are you willing to tolerate them? 2 people went missing in a nearby village. You must have heard about it. You might think it was just a coincidence, or that it's only natural that trouble comes to one of your neighbors. 3. 3 people went. There are already 3 missing. Confidence emanating from the strange guest gave the innkeeper courage. Having made up his mind, he asked, What do you want to know? How big is the squad? Who is inconvenient? Once Manabu answered all of her questions, the Kitsune said, Go back in there and act naturally. For example, start washing the dishes. It will be over soon. The 4 of them met back in the forest to talk it over. Did you find out anything? Yes, May did well. Thank you. May's relationship with Masamune and Kazu. Interesting. The Ronin and the ninja looked at her seriously. There was no condescension in their eyes, only approval. For some reason, May felt proud. Then she calmly said, There are 11 warriors in the total. The leader is called Takeshi Yoshi. Kazu looked questioningly at Arai. I haven't heard of him before. He's staying in the innkeeper's room and rarely leaves it. When he does go out, he tends to be absent for the entire night. Probably visiting the neighboring village. There are already 3 missing. He's here tonight. You take a look at the entrances? Naturally. Oh, you know what I think about with the eerie look in his eye? He's probably an Oni. Naturally. So she kicked the fallen leaves with his foot and bent down, picking up a stick. He drew a rectangle on the ground. The inn. This is the main entrance. Here's the back one. The doors of the hall opened. The wind rushed in from outside. The warriors cast tenacious, unkind glances at those who entered. Dun, 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 dun. Who arrives in the middle of the night? A samurai with his wife or a sister? Maybe he's a guard. The late-night travelers slouched from the damp and cold. Drops fell from the hats that cast shadows over their faces. The man grumbled. Well, this weather. Can you bring me something decent and hot? Manabu recognized May and his concern showed. His voice began to shake. But it seemed that the soldiers had grown accustomed to the owner's frightened appearance and paid no attention to this change. Okay, good. They're leftovers from dinner. I warmed them up. No, go to the kitchen and cook something fresh. What would you like? Ramen! It'll take time. I have to cut the chicken and then... No, that would take too long. Soba? Fine, now go. Alright, understood. Some instinct alarmed one of the missionaries, who looked closely at Manabu and the travelers. However, the warrior was soon distracted by another newcomer to the inn. Oh ho ho, what a dump. What's the name of this village, although it hardly matters. Which one of you is the owner? Wait, mister. He's in the kitchen. It's a bit crowded today, I think. You, Grandpa, judging by your clothes, are you an official? Why the hell are you out on the roads alone? At night, no less. I am an official. My servant is a fool and a drunkard. Well, he was. He stumbled on the mountain road and fell into a chasm with all of our things. Who are you, though? You have no respect for rank or power? Bandits, I presume? What? This guy's shinobi raised his voice. That's right, crooks. I've seen such people. You should be hanged. One of the guests gritted his teeth. Are you tired of living, old man? From the adjacent sleeping room came a displeased shout. What's the matter? There's an old man here. Wants to choke on his own blood. Then kill him and shut up. Let me get some sleep. Satoshi derisively asked. Not the smartest among you, huh? You can't kill me. You'll definitely be hanged. The nearest patrol will string you up and leave you to feed the crows. Old man does indeed seem to be an official. Should we leave him be? Into the dung heap, and that's it. Two of them got up and approached the ninja. Get out. You asked for this for yourself. Grabbing the false official by the elbows, they dragged him to the door. Well, that'll be your funeral. They won't be coming back in. Soshi was hanging from their arms with his legs bent comically. What's the meaning of this? Where are you dragging me, you lousy bastards? Unhand me this instant. The three of them disappeared outside. The soldier who remained in the hall felt that something was going on, that there was something amiss. Well, I thought it was him. Though he hadn't completely caught on yet, he did not connect the pair who had entered earlier with the crotchety official. There was a scream outside. The mercenary relaxed, an ugly grin crept onto his face. And immediately there was a second scream, followed by a soft squelch, which could only have been made by a body falling into the mud by the porch. There's trouble. The warrior jumped up, drawing his sword from his scabbard. The doors to the shared sleeping quarters were thrown open. Clothes rustled and weapons clattered. Sleepy warriors, fastening their belts along the way, rushed through the hall to the inn's exit. But then someone fell. Blood splattered from his severed throat onto the wall. Masumine's precise katana struck him down. The next one rolled across the floor, trying in vain to close the wound across his belly with his hands. Kazu materialized from a dark corner. I was gonna say he materialized. What the hell? How did he get there? As a result, is what he's been saying. He's been focused on his breathing, so he's still water, and so you didn't even notice him. As a result, only one escaped out into the courtyard. The others quickly assessed where the danger was coming from. Skirting scattered utensils and dishes, they began to approach the Ronin and Shinobi in a coordinated effort. Mei was already standing in the corner behind Arai. Kazu and Masamune were calm and collected. The opponents did not frighten them, but they knew for sure no battle would forgive mistakes. The air was tense, a sigh of life before the offerings of death. The Kitsune's eyes darted from man to man. 1, 2, those in the street, one is missing. No commander? The mercenaries attacked. All erupted with motion, steel rang, screams tore the air. A shuriken flew by, slicing into the bridge of a man's nose in a deadly caress. As it drove deeper into his skull, the man toppled over 2 steps from where Mei stood. Shuddering, Mei folded her stiff fingers as she had been taught. She chose the strongest of their attackers and struck him with illusion magic. In a real battle, her past was much worse than during training. A cloudy shadow covered the warrior's face. What's this? However, darting to the side, he bumped into another warrior. His fellow reflexively defended himself with his sword, wounding the first warrior's shoulder. The mercenary fell, not trying to fight. The kitsune's hands shook. Thick crimson everywhere, the clashing of weapons. There seemed to be some muffled noises from the street, faces twisted with rage. She used magic again and missed. However, there was now one less enemy. Araya stepped over the crumpled body, and then the 11th appeared. Takeshi. Oh, is this the commander? Takao and the Ronin's suspicions were confirmed. The detachment was commanded by an Oni. The room lit up with green fire. 2 luminous whips darted out from his hands and across the hall. Masamune moved forward. His katana whistled and unearthly flames splashed to the sides, hitting one of the mercenaries lying on the floor. The burning smell choked the air. A second magical whip snaked toward Kazu. He ducked under it in an effortless roll. The flame, passing several inches from the shinobi's head, hit the pillar that supported the roof, scorching it. Oh, we kind of fucking up this guy's aim. Inspired by the commander's appearance, the soldiers who remained on their feet redoubled their attack. May was not even surprised by the thought that flashed through her mind. It was a simple acknowledgement. They aren't afraid of his witchcraft. Does the squad know his true nature? The Ronin and ninja, clearly holding the upper hand before, now had a harder time. Shuriken flashed by the light of the inn. He does have like beady eyes. Yeah, they got that spot on. The yokai dodged to the side. 2 steel stars threaded into the wall. He pushed off midway, changing direction. Dashing past Arai, he deftly dodged the Ronin's katana. Drawing his blade, the commander nearly struck Masamune's chest with a counterattack. Let me get a picture of him before we end up killing him. Because he gonna die. I hope. By the way, Takeshi's weapon... Well, actually, we need to get information first. By the way, Takeshi's weapons moved with graceful, menacing beauty. It was obvious that he was excellent at more than just magic. Who are you? Araya stepped to the left. The shinobi fluidly shifted to the right. So she appeared at the open door. Red droplets fell from his short sword. The fake official quickly understood the situation, set to distracting the other men so that Masamune and Kazu could focus on their main opponent. Still in disguise as an old man, Satoshi shocked the mercenaries with his agility, preventing them from scattering. Takeshi's furious gaze fixed on Mei. Kitsune. He recognized me on sight? He finally stopped. Mei's answer was a folded pass. Acolyte. An owl fell on the Oni, flapping its wings in his face. The bird extended sharp claws, aiming for the eyes. Takeshi shielded himself with his elbow, covering his face. Araya's katana sliced the yokai's thigh. This time, the green flashes only enveloped his palm and did not extend into fiery whips. The slightly slowed opponents clashed again. The frantic speed of events peaked. Everything was happening at the same time. Looking for an opportunity to strike Takeshi with magic again, Mei missed the moment when the wounded warrior that she had blinded stood. Oh. So she saw him, but he was too far away. The mercenary glanced at the commander and rushed away. Ripping through the paper and breaking the window bars, he tumbled outside. Can I throw the fan? Kazu and Masamune are focused on the Oni. He's still on his feet. If someone escapes, they could tell about what happened, give a description. It's dangerous. Oh, wait, has she killed anyone yet? No. Is she gonna kill him? Oh, sorry. Yeah, we can't allow that. Don't let him get away. The kitsune jumped out through the gap in the window. You gotta do this. The warrior hurried to the horses. May noticed a girl moving toward him in the darkness. What? Before the battle began, the owner's oh yeah, I forgot. The owner's daughter had brought dinner to the visiting merchant who had settled down for the night in the stable. Hearing the noise and not wanting to get into trouble, the merchant hid, burying his head in a pile of hay. Yoshiko kept looking out cautiously. Have mercy on my father. May no evil come to him. Oh, poor thing. After only corpses remained in front of the inn and an armed old man went inside, she finally dared to leave. She pushed open the gate and hurried across the yard, calling out to the village for help. Somebody help! Somebody! Suddenly, one of the guests jumped from the inn, breaking the window with a crash, a sword in his hand, and fear twisting his face. She screamed desperately again. Oh no. Please help me. The warrior overtook her in 2 bounds and swung. Shut up, you rubbish. May picked up the first thing she found on the ground. With all of her might, she threw the strangely familiar object. The log hit the man in the back and because she has been picking up and putting down logs. Look at the man in the back and distracted him. He looked around for a moment. When Nabu's daughter, looking at the raised sword, collapsed, she sobbed. The old man appeared suddenly from the side, deflecting the blow. He spoke through clenched teeth. Hide. Without getting up, Yoshiko crawled back to the stable. Toshi twisted his blade, blocking the attack and knocking the sword from his enemy's hand. The mercenary instinctively raised his hand, shielding his chest and head. Shinobi jabbed below with force at his stomach. The warrior fell, curled up in a ball, kicked his legs, and finally froze, his face buried in liquid mud. Kitsune turned away from the corpse, pointing to the house. She asked, "Are they all right?" "I don't know. Let's go." "What's happening?" "Everything's fine." Masamune stood over the Oni, the tip of his katana to his throat. "He's alive. The rest are not. I doubt that any of the locals will dare to come here now. There's no need to delay. Explanations would be difficult." The fight was over. Cold night air rushed in through the hole in the wall. The ferocious energy of the fight gradually subsided. The disgusting smell of death coming from the bodies permeated the air. Earlier, May had focused every drop of her attention on the struggle for her friends' lives and her own. Now she saw everything as it was. May coughed, fighting back the urge to throw up. She mentally thanked Kazu, who had dissuaded her from eating. The running caught Toshi's gaze. "Please stay outside with her." "All right." Pale as milk, Manabu looked into the hall. Yeah, you might not want to look. His foot touched something. He looked down and immediately recoiled from a body that had almost lost its head. Looked at his guest in horror. "And take this one with you." Toshi quickly pushed Manabu out the door. "May, come on." "What?" "Let's get out." Yeah, she's never seen this much death before. In the doorway, she turned around. Takeshi Yoshi didn't look human anymore. The illusion was slowly dissipating. His body, lying on the blood-soaked floor, stretched out, taller than it had been. Horns appeared above the mask that covered his face. From the yoge that had infiltrated Kumagoto and the geisha Chiko, he was distinguished by his skin. It had a red tint instead of blue. Araya bent down, removing the mask from the yokai. Kazu sneered. "Hey, ugly, shall we look for your weak spot?" The innkeeper walked toward the stable awkwardly, as if drunk, shifting his disobedient legs. So she took May around the corner, out of sight of the bodies in front of the porch. The Kitsune leaned against the wall, calming herself with her breathing. The world around her floated and blurred. She thought she was about to faint, but she resisted. Toshi held her by the shoulders. "It's okay. It will pass. You did a good job. You sure you were raised in Nokia? First times are always like this. Here, stand against the wind. Let it blow over you. They'll have a little chat, and it'll all be over. We'll go home." She straightened up. He's being uncharacteristically nice. "Thank you. I'm fine." She turned the sound of a voice. "What have you done?" Manabu stood hugging the trembling girl, the one that May had managed to save. The innkeeper kept repeating, lamenting. What will happen now? What have you monsters done? You were to blame." Toshi wanted to interrupt the man, but May stopped the ninja. "Let him speak." "We still have to live here. How? If their friends come, everything that happened here." "He's just scared." Shinobi looked at Manabu. "They have no friends. No one will avenge them. If anyone asks, forget their faces, but tell the rest that it was. Go away, I ask you. Nobody will touch you. All this bloodshed at my inn. It's going to stay here now." Toshi's voice had lost its apparent friendliness. "Then don't talk about it. You should hold your tongue if you want to keep the rest of your teeth. Wipe away your snot and get to work. Bury the bodies in the dung pile or drag them into the forest." The village was behind them. In the east, the sky began to brighten. "Did you get this Takeshi Yoshi to talk?" Masamune was about to reply, but noticed the Kitsune's expression. "May, are you okay?" "Yes, I just keep thinking of the innkeeper's words. That squat was pretty dangerous." Let's try this one. And I choose the wrong one. Of course. Because for it, so she's just assessing the battle instead of thinking about, whatever. Fine. We're leaving it. We're not doing that whole thing over. Millie doesn't fire us in an Oni. What if we encounter Ryoge with 100 warriors? We won't. We're not going to fight that many enemies. Killing a dozen warriors is easy, basically. Taking them alive and interrogating them is much more difficult. Right, Arai? Right. We did everything right. Bruises and scratches, it's nothing. Of course, you won't go to the trouble of fighting a whole army. The goal is the plan. A new goal means a new plan. For a while, there was a strange silence. A taste of metal rested on their lips. Oh, I was hoping she would use her war fan. But angry and harsh Kazu, unusually agile Satoshi, deeply melancholic Masamune, and Mei, a smile frozen in her face from years of geisha training. Geisha training. Huh. That's interesting. See all their reactions of how they react after something like that, like just like a crap ton of bloodshed. You know, that was interesting for them to say a smile frozen on her face. Wow. After listening to the story, the Jonin led with the most important question. They'll only tell you anything helpful? Arai glanced at the still silent Kazu and Mei. He answered. Takeshi served the Ryoge. He did not know the name of the master. He was not worthy. His master ordered the capture of the Kitsune. He did not explain the reason. Unfortunate. But he did hear about the gate. There have been rumors of a gateway leading home among the Oni for a long time. Home? Their home? Yes. Mei, for the first time since her return, looked at the head of the clan and said, Yes, Takao. She remembered how there, when Kazu and Arai asked Satoshi on the road, the hair on the back of her neck had stiffened. The seal on my hand is for the gate that leads to Jikoku. The head of the clan considered. It's sealed, so Ryoge wanted to open it. Mei did not dare to ask the question immediately. What happens if it is opened? One can only guess. And? Certainly nothing good. The inhabitants of Jikoku will be free to come to us. The Oni and Ryoge? How many of them are there? Nobody knows for sure. You didn't ask anyone that you caught? I asked. If their answers are to be believed, things are very grim. The Kitsune bowed. Takao, I won't mind if you break the contract. This is too much. The Jonin looked at her sharply. Do not make such a rash statement, Mei. The ninja of the Naito clan have never backed down from taking a contract, and they will not do so in my lifetime. Mei bowed deeper. Well, this news is impressive. However, nothing changes significantly. Act according to the plan. The weather was gradually getting warmer. Life in the clan went on as usual. Mei grew to know it better every day. This place, lost in the mountains, carried incomprehensible tranquility and a kind of harmony that was impossible to ignore. From dawn until late at night, the shinobi worked almost constantly. Some of them ran the household, preparing equipment, working in the kitchen, sewing clothes. Others trained, they ran, practiced fighting and stealth skills, performed exercises unfathomable to Mei, or went out into the outside world to seal contracts. Mei saw some of the residents once or twice, while others she met periodically. Azumi, who did not leave the village and rarely left her house, she met only once. Briefly, the kunoichi only greeted her and, averting her eyes, turned to the side. Mei spent a lot of time with Chongan. The old man often offered her treats and looked after her health. As he treated the abrasions and bruises she received in the classroom and helped her cope with frequent headaches, he usually expressed his dissatisfaction with her teachers. Kimi, who brought her food, also sometimes kept her company at lunch and shared stories about the local yokai. Hong and Satoshi disappeared regularly. The first one collected information for the clan and was rarely at home. The second one she saw much more often, and he sometimes helped the Kitsune practice her makeup skills. Mei also talked with Kazu, getting more and more accustomed to him and his presence. Slowly, carefully learning about the shinobi. Constant grueling lessons and fatigue took away all desires except sleep. Fortunately, Demand did not seem to mind at all. Most of her time, as before, was devoted to training. Her lessons with Kazu, which had seemed trivial at first, gradually became more challenging. The shinobi not only taught her meditation and advised on a selection of fighting techniques, but also asked questions. In short, chopped phrases chosen seemingly by chance, he made her think, remember, and rethink completely different things. Sometimes May could not sleep at night, tormented by her search for answers. Ninja's ability to listen was unparalleled. At times, the Kitsune seemed to be talking to herself. May did not notice when or why she began to talk about her past. About how she was taken from Ichido's village, how she was punished at school, and how she used to have fun with her mentor, about different things. Once, their conversation casually touched upon the night of her transformation, but only briefly and without much detail. These unusual conversations or monologues and her breathing practices affected May in a special way. She realized that events that had previously echoed in her with sadness and anxiety had become less vivid and rested more easily with her. However, turning inward like this sometimes took more energy than working with magic and fighting. During her weapons lessons, she now felt much calmer and freer. Her transformation to a fox and back had also progressed somewhat, and so day after day, over and over. Takao magic, Masamune physical practice, Kazu brought it all together by helping her spirit find its way. Ooh, interesting. Training her spirit. Wow. Wow. Huh. Cool. Fighting. Dance. Magic. Meditation. And again. Over and over. Until finally. The rest of winter had flown by. Spring had come, and it was time to go to the capital for the Festival of Beauty. I'm getting all the screenshots. These are cool. So she's been training all this time. Dang, she's gonna be in beast mode when she comes out. I'm telling you. She is not the same girl who she was when she came there. She's grown. She is a kunoichi. She is a kitsune. She is a geisha. Awesome. Super awesome. I like it. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that was a lot to unpack in that episode for sure. Yeah, that was really nice. So Kazu's training her in spirit. Huh. Yeah, and the things that used to torment her, like at the beginning of the story, she's finding that she can, she can manage much better now. Like it doesn't cause her infinite pain when she thinks about it too much anymore. You know what I mean? Like she's finding like her inner center, like her calmness. You know what I mean? That's really cool. And she didn't do a lot in that battle. However, I think experiencing that battle was really important for her. Like she's been in like kind of more of a one-on-one sort of battle, or like a couple people, something like that, like something kind of like stealthy you were hiding, but nothing really like overt like that, like just like outright bloodshed everywhere, people just dying left, right, and center, like that. She hadn't done that. So it was her first time coming to experience with it. I think it's important for her to experience it because moving forward, there's going to be a lot of that going on. And unfortunately, it's going to be the case. So, yeah, I don't know. Okay, yeah, so there's one more episode, which is the beginning of season 3. I'm super excited, so I'm going to do that next time, I think. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and share the like button to love, subscribe to see more content like this, and I will see you next time. Bye!